Everyone, have you ever thought about a single decision that reshaped the world centuries later? Today's story is about just that. The Opium Wars and the 99-year lease of Hong Kong. The Opium Wars 1839-1842, 1856-1860 weren't just conflicts between Britain and China. They sparked a dramatic twist that saw Hong Kong handed to Britain, only to be reclaimed by China in 1997. Back then, 99 years felt like eternity, but it was a masterstroke for China. Without this, today's Hong Kong and global dynamics would be unrecognizable. Let's dive into this epic, dramatic history. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Here we go. Let's start with the background. In the early 19th century, China's Qing dynasty was past its prime, grappling with corruption and economic woes. Meanwhile, Britain was riding high on the Industrial Revolution, a global powerhouse. Britain imported tons of Chinese tea, porcelain, and silk, but China had little interest in Western goods. This trade imbalance drained Britain's silver reserves, pushing them to the brink. Their solution? Opium. They smuggled opium grown in India into China, turning a profit but wrecking lives. This wasn't just a drug, it was Britain's survival tactic. China didn't sit idly by. Opium devastated its society. By the 1830s, millions were addicted, families crumbled, and the military weakened. A friend of mine said, "If drugs were ruining my neighborhood, I'd fight back." That's what Emperor Daoguang did. In 1839, he sent the hardline official Lin Zexu to Guangzhou to crush the opium trade. Lin confiscated 20,000 chests of British opium and dumped them into the sea. This Guangzhou opium destruction was a slap in Britain's face, practically a declaration of war. Enter the First Opium War, 1839-1842. Britain sent state-of-the-art ships and cannons, while the Qing's outdated weapons and training stood no chance. British forces swept through Guangzhou, Shanghai, and Nanjing. In 1842, China signed the humiliating Treaty of Nanking, ceding Hong Kong Island to Britain forever and opening 5 ports to trade. Britain even secured the right to continue opium trafficking. But it didn't end there. The Second Opium War, 1856-1860, saw Britain and France storm Beijing, forcing the Treaty of Beijing, which handed over Kowloon Peninsula to Britain. Here's where the drama peaks. In 1898, Britain secured a 99-year lease on the new territories. Through the Convention of Peking. Why 99 years? Back then, human lifespans rarely hit. 199 years felt like forever to the British. An elder in my community once said, "When I was young, 99 years seemed unimaginable. Now, it's just a generation." Britain thought they'd secured Hong Kong for eternity, but the Qing played the long game. In 1997, when the lease ended, Hong Kong returned to China. That was the masterstroke. The Opium War's impact was colossal. For China, they marked the start of the century of humiliation. The treaties of Nanking and Beijing were textbook unequal treaties. Stripping China's sovereignty and exposing it to foreign exploitation, Hong Kong became Britain's colonial jewel, a hub for opium trade and later a financial powerhouse. For Britain, it was a triumph. But for China, opium addiction spread, and the Qing weakened further, collapsing in 1911 with the Xinhai Revolution. The wars were a tragic prelude to China's modern struggles. So why was the 99-year lease a masterstroke? In 1898, the Qing were at Britain's mercy. Hong Kong Island and Kowloon were already permanently ceded, but leasing the new territories for 99 years? That was a calculated move. Britain accepted, thinking it was as good as forever. Yet, when the lease ended in 1997, all of Hong Kong Island, Kowloon, and new territories returned to China. If Britain had demanded permanent cession, Hong Kong might still be British today. This lease was China's seed for the future. The 1997 handover was a global spectacle. On July 1st, the British flag came down, and China's 5-star red flag rose. Remember that moment? It wasn't just a territorial return, it symbolized China's resurgence. Hong Kong became a key economic hub, propelling China's rise as a global power. Without the Opium Wars and the 99-year lease, Hong Kong might have stayed. British and China's influence would be weaker today. What makes this so dramatic? The Opium Wars were a clash of civilization's industrial West versus traditional China. Britain fought with cutting-edge weapons, the Qing with spears and swords. The wars crushed China's pride. And the 99-year lease? A stroke of temporal genius. What seemed eternal to Britain was a fleeting moment in history. A colleague once said, 99 years is forever to a person. but a blink to history. That's the dramatic allure of this story. The wars also touched Korea. As the Qing weakened, Korea faced Western and Japanese pressure, leading to the 1876 Treaty of Ganghwa, the 1905 Yulsa Treaty, and eventual Japanese colonization. Without the Opium Wars, East Asia's modern history might have been different. Korea might have avoided such turmoil. Yet, this masterstroke has shadows. Since the handover, China has tightened control over Hong Kong's autonomy. The 2019 Hong Kong protests, remember those? Citizens demanded freedom, but China cracked down. The return, once a triumph, birthed new conflicts. That's history's irony of victory leading to fresh challenges. Reflecting on the Opium Wars and the 99-year lease, we see how one decision ripples across centuries. Britain's greed, China's humiliation, and time's power wove Hong Kong's story and changed the world. What would Hong Kong, China, and the world look like today? What do you think? Was China's 99-year strategy a masterstroke or a seed for new conflicts? Share your thoughts in the comments. If this hooked you, subscribe, like, and hit the bell. See you next time.